So I did something a little differently with this ReZero review. The way I do it is I watch the episodes and then I record my thoughts, then I edit, then I upload. I do it all in one motion. I don't wait to record or anything like that, but there's something about this episode that I had to take a step back, take a few minutes, in this case it was about a half hour, to just think about the episode. Not doing anything but think about the episode. And it's just amazing that weekly, that the majority of the people watching this anime continuously say this episode is better than the last. And that happens non-stop. This anime is incredible. ReZero took what I already considered to be a masterpiece of a season with season 1 and escalated to even greater territory. The fact that we can stay in Sanctuary for a majority of this season and continuously find new ways to make the narrative and everything surrounding it more and more interesting is a testament to how good the character writing is in ReZero. And honestly, more authors should take note on how to write isekai protagonists, because Natsuki Subaru's suffering and his mentality that a lot of those people in season 1 claimed as weak writing, as he's a weak character and annoying and cringe, that's why this show's so good, is because his suffering is realistic and it is top-notch writing across the board. There's two main things that happen in this episode, the first of which is the idea of loops, and how those loops aren't just Subaru resetting his own, but most likely there's a chance the times that he dies, that world carries on without him and he goes into a new reality, which is insane. Even though it hasn't been confirmed, it does kind of reinforce an idea many people probably have thought for quite some time. And then of course we have the true Witch's Tea Party. The idea of multiverses, infinite possibilities and realities is something that I think probably everyone watching ReZero at some point, unless they've never watched sci-fi with time travel in any sort of way, have probably thought, hey, when Subaru resets, is he resetting his own timeline, or is his timeline branching off into a new one? And I don't think many people think about it too much, because there's always suffering happening, there's always some conspiracy at play, so most viewers probably don't think about it past the odd time here and there, and it's been quite a while since I've even considered it myself. I think I thought about it a bit when the series first started, and then everything kind of went insane, so I kind of forgot about it. But to have an episode where a trial's basically happening to him, and every step of the way we're seeing key moments from season 1 and 2. One of my favorites is the first time he really decides to take his life, and it's honestly is presented as a heroic way, like, as crazy as it is, he's basically telling people that he's going to kill himself and everything's going to be okay. And you see what would happen if this is a true reality or if it was just a test. I'm leaning on it's probably a true reality, but obviously that's going to be a mystery for quite some time. To see those characters disgusted, like you're talking all this high stuff and then you just killed yourself. Like, what a pathetic loser. Seeing the moments where Rem and Ram basically were the cause of his death and how they were saying, like, I did a good thing, I made it clean and quick so he wouldn't suffer, but clearly he's not to be trusted. Seeing all those moments that it screamed pain, it screamed fear and terror, and you see it from those characters. But the most painful of all are those times where Subaru thought killing himself would be a solution, but really ended up that death didn't do anything for him. And you see Amelia and the others just so disappointed, like, why would you do this? How could you be such a coward? You said you loved me, and here you are stabbing your own neck and killing yourself. To see those moments that just reinforce something that's very important. Subaru's been losing his humanity a lot this season. He's getting closer and closer to being someone like Roswell, who just sees the end result and doesn't care about the action surrounding them. And there's been quite a few moments over the past few weeks that have really made him feel like he's not human, that he views Return by Death as a video game system where he can get all the information, die, and reset. It doesn't matter what happens. But we're seeing the question. Even if it isn't true, it's something to be feared, that these deaths aren't something that you should welcome with open arms. You should say, this is my one and only life, and if I die, that's it. And if he does get reset, cool. But knowing that all those times that the people that he was killing himself for, that he was dying so he could save these people, there's potentially realities where they have to now suffer alone, thinking the person who they thought they could trust in, that was going to be their hero, killed himself or died or didn't do enough. And it just puts into perspective the idea of Return by Death. That it isn't this all-powerful gift, it's actually a curse. And I think most people, when they first start ReZero, they consider it a curse. The idea that you can't share your burden with anyone, or a witch's hand will grab your heart and kill you, or kill the ones you love. And eventually you just kind of grow numb to it, like, okay, he should, man up. That, yeah, it hurts, but eventually you gotta understand that you have this gift, that you could save everyone. And now the question is, you don't know, is this all just a vision or is it reality? And we're not going to know the answer until probably the end of the show. And the fact that we have something so painful, it puts into perspective why losing your humanity for the end goal isn't the answer, especially considering where the witch's tea party leads, and it further highlights that entire question. Akidana is a character I don't think anyone's naturally said 100% an angel, she's going to be amazing, but when you have no one that you can talk about Return by Death to, it's understandable why you would say, you know what, I'm going to trust you because I have no other option. I figured at some point there would be some sort of contract that would be brought up. I just didn't know the limitations, the rule sets, and things like that. I actually thought it was going to be like, hey, you're going to sell your soul to me, and maybe like she would control him or something like that. Maybe like go inside his body and it'd be like a dual personality. Like I thought maybe they're going to go really crazy with that. But to see the tea party that was just saying like, you know, even though we can tell her these things, we can't trust her. And no one's going to be shocked that we can't fully trust her, that a witch is not the most trustworthy a person. It's not going to be something that's going to be overly shocking in that way. What is the way she presents her ideas and how she actually 100% admits everything that Subaru asks her, and actually fully admits her feelings that I'm going to use you. I'm going to use you for knowledge, but I want you to use me in return. Hell, she's saying like, I'll be your girlfriend, I'll be your mistress, I'll do whatever you want. I am hungry for knowledge, and you're gonna use me. But the issue is that she sees it the way Subaru's been seeing it for so long, where it doesn't matter how many times he dies if he can get to the end result. And the fact that we came so close to this conversation happening, and if it wasn't for those visions, he would have easily accepted it, and he would have continued to go off the deep end to the point of no return. But because he saw those, he now started to kind of get that wake-up call. The fact that he was actually able to call out the fake Rem, which I actually love how they're introducing the witches. Like, you knew it wasn't really her. I was actually leaning on the topic of, like, because Rem's such an important part of him, that he was kind of having a hallucination by himself, just kind of needing that comfort. But once you really start hearing what she's saying, you know Rem would never tell Subaru to rest. Subaru would get up because that's basically, she has the most blunt words towards him. She also has some of the most kind words, but at the end of the day, Subaru is not a quitter, so she would never let him do that. So to see that hallucination, which turned out to be a witch, and just to see all the witches there, seeing that it doesn't have to be a swap, but Akidana was just greedy and just kept everyone away. I mean, you end the episode with Satalia popping up, which, goddamn, is that going to be a brutal way to end episode 13, the first half of this season, as we wait for winter 2021. But it's so interesting to see that topic, and you see Subaru return to who he once was while still mature and more developed than season 1. He's really started progressing down a path where he looked at Return by Death as a gift in a way that he could get knowledge, kill himself, come back, and redo everything. But now he's seeing that the way he was using that knowledge, it was making him oblivious to what's happening, and that's why Amelia went off the deep end, because he wasn't there to comfort her, so now he's taking that into consideration. I think he made the right call by calling out Akidana, asking for help, but it was something that I wasn't expecting to backfire in his face until maybe next season, or the second half of this season. But to see it all just implode and see all the witches clearly wanting Subaru for themselves, but each of them doing it for different. Minerva seems like honestly the most genuine out of all of them, that her wrath comes from something of love, not really malicious intent, but then again, it's ReZero, you never really know. But I like that this is a series that's completely unpredictable, and you're watching this tea party unfold, and it feels like the person that you're like, yeah, of course she was going to backstab us, and of course she does have more malicious intent in that she's not afraid of basically the end result's all that matters and anything that happens beforehand. I mean, she does throw in his face that I'll make sure all the loved ones that you care about are protected, but it just feels like you can't trust her in this sense that you can have casual chats with her, but every time you chat with her, it's almost like she's planting her hands on you more and more, and if you continue to chat with her, you're probably not going to be able to go away until you make a contract with her. And that's a pretty frightening thought. I think it's a good addition to have her in the story, not someone who's just like completely evil or good, but just is on her own greedy path. And the fact that you call out with the Beatrice content and how she looks at situations like her being trapped for 400 years because she didn't make a choice that she easily could have made before this point is an amazing thing. And I think it's such in Subaru's character to ask a question such as that, to say, hey, you know, I'm going to ask you a question, this is going to make me decide. What do you think of Beatrice is basically locked in a library for all these years, and she thinks it's wonderful? I really like how Subaru's able to regain his composure in this episode while also losing it completely as soon as he sees that witch approach, who looks exactly like Amelia, which the fact that he's just in this constant state of seeing Amelia as she actually is, in a crazy delusional state because he abandoned her, or seeing the witch look like Amelia, and it's like, what do you actually do with this? And it's hard to say. ReZero is definitely on a roll, it's a masterpiece. of a season, and goddamn, other anime are gonna have its work cut out if you even want to attempt to contend with Anime of the Year right now. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below, your favorite moment, and what did you think of the idea of potentially it being real, that every time Subaru dies, that world continues, and he starts a new timeline where everyone remembers him as a failure, a coward, or just something even worse. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like to show your support, and hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.